All right, everyone. Hello and welcome in. My name is Alexis Miller, and I'm going to be your yoga instructor today. So, welcome to week 27 of this Yoga for Pregnancy series. Happy last week of second trimester. It's a major milestone, and now we're about to move into the third trimester. So, for those of you who are new, welcome. Those who have been with me throughout this series, welcome back. As you may know, this series is designed to support you as you move through pregnancy, but you can do it week to week chronologically, or you can move in and out of practices based on what your body can do and what it is capable of as you move through your pregnancy. A couple things to know as we go through practice. Notice your boundaries. Where are you ready to extend into postures? Where do you need to modify and come down to the mat, or perhaps find that center posture? Again, we're coming into that stage of pregnancy where the body is really starting to loosen up and get ready for actually birthing a baby. So notice where your edge is and then maybe pull back slightly. Your body's already doing a lot of stretching and moving, so we don't want to overdo it in any way and accidentally injure ourselves, right? Also, keep in mind, I don't often cue water. So, if and when you feel thirsty, of course, please feel free to step off your mat, grab that drink, and then join us whenever you feel ready. Finally, I just want to say that anyone who is a supporter of the pregnant mom, whether it's a partner, a family member, a friend, or a tiny family member, welcome. It's so nice to have you here practicing with the pregnant lady, and it makes a big difference when you're doing this in community with others. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and come into a comfortable seat. Our legs can be crossed, they can also be straight out in front of you. You can be down on the mat or on a prop. I'm sitting on a block on the low side. It lifts my hips and makes it easier to sit for a few minutes at a time here. We're going to wiggle back and forth to root into the sits bones, and then we'll sit up nice and tall. Let's inhale, draw the shoulders forward and up. Exhale as we drop them back and down. Inhale, the shoulders come forward and up. And then exhale, they drop back and down. Hands come into a comfortable position, whether on the knees, palms up or down, or in your lap. You're welcome to close the eyes if that feels comfortable for you, or simply find an unmoving point and soften your gaze here. So, throughout this series, we have started each practice with a breathing practice to help you connect with your baby. So, if you'd like, you're welcome to bring a hand onto your belly, a hand onto your chest here. And take a moment to simply notice the breath. You're not changing it, you're simply noticing that natural rhythm or cadence that it has right now. After the next exhale, take a nice full inhale, filling the belly, lungs, and chest with air. And slowly exhale that breath back out. Take another deep inhale, fill the belly, lungs, and chest with air. And slowly exhale that breath back out. On the next inhale, imagine drawing in all of the love that you feel for your baby and sending it to your baby. And then exhale, imagine baby sending all of the love that it has for you on that exhale back out to you. Inhale, strength for baby. Exhale, baby, strength for you. Inhale, motivation for baby. Exhale, baby's motivation for you. Inhale, endurance for baby. Exhale, baby's endurance for you. Inhale, perseverance for baby. Exhale, baby's perseverance for you. Inhale, tenacity for baby. Exhale, baby's tenacity for you. Inhale, love for baby. Exhale, baby's love for you. Taking a couple more breaths just like this and welcoming in whatever it is you would like to offer your baby. And then on the exhales, having baby offer up the very same for you. After your next exhale, releasing your hands back down onto your legs or in your lap and taking a moment here to simply notice your breath as it settles into its own rhythm and cadence. And then taking a moment to set an intention or a purpose for your practice today, which really can be anything at all, but often answers the question, why did I get on my mat? Take a nice deep inhale as you feel that intention with your heart and mind. And then exhale the breath out, setting the intention off to the side, knowing we'll return to it toward the end of our practice. Lovely. Gently opening the eyes here. Let's go ahead and set our prop, if you're using one, off to the side and out of the way, coming into a comfortable seat on your mat. We're going to inhale, sweep our arms wide, bring them up overhead, cast the gaze skyward. Exhale, twist over to the left, right hand to the left knee, left hand behind the body, curving your head around into a seated twist. Inhale, coming back into center. Exhale, twisting over to the right, left hand to the right knee, right hand behind the body, curving your head around into a seated twist. Inhale, you come back into center. Exhale, coming over to the left again, not pushing further than you're ready, but curving that nose so you really feel the stretch all the way up into the neck. Good. Inhale back into center. Exhale, twisting over to the right. Keeping in mind that twists like this are gentle enough that they can help with digestion if you're starting to feel or more of that indigestion as you move through pregnancy here. Good. Inhale back into center. Exhale, drop your left hand down to the mat. Step it about a foot out to the left, and then lean over to the left as you reach through those right side fingers, coming into a seated side bend. So reach through those fingers, feel that pull through the ribs down to the hip, opening up the side body, pressing into that bottom hand to keep the right hip rooted down onto the mat, and keeping that bicep stacked over the ear here. So we're not closing the chest down, but really opening the heart center up at the same time. Great work. Good. Inhale comes into center. Switching hands, bring that right hand down, step about a foot out to the right, and then lean over to the right as you reach through that left hand, seated side body stretch. So again, reaching, feel that pull, nice opening through the side body, pressing into the right hand to keep the left hip rooted down. Ooh, it's such a nice stretch here. I love this opening so much. Good. And then inhale brings you back into center. Seated cat cows, I'm going to turn to the side here so you can see me a little bit easier. Okay. So we're sitting in that nice, comfortable position. I have my hands on my knees here for some leverage here. So we're going to inhale, press the belly forward, squeeze the shoulder blades together, look up toward the sky, seated cow. And then exhale, hollow out the back and the belly, coming into a seated cat. Inhale, press the body forward, look up toward the sky, seated cow. Use my yawn. Exhale, hollow out the belly and the back, coming into a seated cat. Good. One more around each side. Inhale into a seated cow, looking up, lifting that chin. Exhale into your seated cat. Feel the shoulder blades separate. Look down toward your feet. Good. And then inhale, let's come into neutral. Great work. We're going to roll over our feet, coming into our tabletop position here. So our hands are beneath the shoulders, knees are beneath the hips here, tops of the feet come onto the floor. So we're going to do a little bit of fire hydrant circles. This is a really great way to keep that hip joint on both sides nice and mobile and lubricated here, kind of get out all of the creaks and the tightness here that may start to develop throughout pregnancy. So we're going to go ahead and start by lifting our left knee out to the side laterally and then switch it or rotate it around so the thigh is now facing the floor, toes are sticking straight up into the air, and then bring that knee down to come next to the right knee before reversing the direction. So extend that foot up, keep the knee bent, thighs facing the floor, and then swing that leg out so the inside of the leg is now facing the floor, and then back down into neutral. That was one. Let's do a few more together. Inhaling up and around. Good. Breathing nice and firm throughout all of this. You don't have to necessarily coordinate the movement with the breath, but I want you to move with intention here. Again, and as you do this, you can really feel how like you're getting into all of that hip joint, right? You're really moving that ball and socket around as much as possible. Good. This is number 4 for me. Let's do 2 more. These are great to do. They're a core engager, a pelvic floor engager, and you're going to feel it in the buns and the legs as well. It's a great posture to do as well as a great mobility movement. Good. That's number 6 for me. I'm going to switch sides so we can continue to see one another and you can see what's happening here. So coming on to that opposite side. So again, we're going to inhale, lift that right leg out to the side, inside of the leg faces the floor, then sweep that knee around so the thigh faces the mat, toes are pointing up toward the sky, and then exhale, bring that knee down to meet the left knee before reversing the direction. So extend those toes toward the sky, thigh faces the floor, swing that leg out so it's at a 90-degree angle, inside the leg faces the floor, lowers down. So that's one. Again, breathing deeply here. You don't need to necessarily coordinate movement with breath here, but I do want you to move with intention. I do want you really to feel all of the movements here and not just zip through them as fast as possible. We're going for 6 in total here. But instead, I really want you to focus on these movements, tuning into those areas that may feel a little tight, that may feel a little restricted, and noticing, okay, this may be an area that's a little bit tougher for me than usual. And keeping that in mind as you go throughout your day, throughout your week, and whenever you work out and do stretching. Good. Let's do one more. Full round, coming for a total of 6. You've already reached 6. Great job. See you there in just a moment. Great work. All right. So we've got those hips nice and loosened up. We're now going to do a little bit of a further opening here. So we're going to do a child's pose slow here. So bringing your knees a little bit wider than your hips here. We're going to start by sinking back into a child's pose. So knees are a little bit wider than the hips, toes are coming together. Good. We'll inhale, come up into center. Exhale, turn the toes outwards. So now we've created an obtuse angle with our calves. And then exhale, sink back. You may not go as deep here. Inhale, back into center. Exhale, down into child's pose. Inhale, center. Switch those legs. Exhale, back. Good. Just flowing back and forth at a comfortable rate for you, not pushing your body further than it's ready to go. Again, finding those boundaries, those edges, being really respectful of them. And these are really good for just keeping, again, that mobility in the hips, helping the pelvis prepare for giving birth. These are great movements to do. Good. Lovely. And when you're ready, coming back into neutral, we're going to come up onto our knees and I'm going to face you here. Okay. Now, we want to take our right leg and step it directly out to our side. So not in front of us like a normal lunge, but setting up for a side lunge. Make sure that your toes are out at a bit of an angle. You should be able to see your shin from this perspective here. We're going to sit up nice and tall on the inhale, and then on the exhale, sink into a low lunge before coming back into neutral. Good. Just moving back and forth, coordinating the movement with the breath here. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good. This is a really nice opener again for that pelvic region, for just that general mobility and movement that we want to try to keep up during our pregnancy here. I like to do these before I go to bed at night. I'll also sometimes do them after I'm done working out at the gym in the morning. So great postures to do, lots of ways to work them into your day, in addition to doing this class. Good. And let's take one more here. Inhale, exhale. Great work. Let's go ahead and come back into neutral. We're switching sides. So weight on the right knee and then bring this left leg out to the side. Again, so the hips are nice and open. So we're preparing for a side lunge, not a forward lunge. Make sure you can see the shin here. We inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, sink into that lunge before exhaling back up. Inhale. Exhale. Good. So again, moving with the breath here, being mindful, not pushing further than you're ready, not going too fast. I know it's tempting. Let's just get through it and move on to the next thing. But try to be really present as you're doing this, right? The whole point is to really care for your body, to be present here and to take this time to nurture yourself. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. Good work. Last one. Great job. All right, drop that knee down. Let's go ahead and come back to face the top of our mat here. And we're going to go ahead and come down onto our booties here. I'm going to stay at a little bit of an angle so you can see the legs a little bit easier here. So coming down into my seat, I'm coming into a cheerleader stretch here. So that looks like having my right leg perpendicular to my torso and this left leg here planted off to the side, inside of the knee down, inside of the foot down onto the mat. So using that big, that big toe and the ball of the big toe here as your hinge point. You may need to lean forward slightly. You could also have your hands tucked down onto the mat. We're going to inhale, hinge that knee open, exhale down. Good. Inhale, hinge open, exhale down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last one. Inhale, exhale. Great. We're going to move it up a little bit, increasing the strength here. You may need to adjust your hands. So now lift the entire left leg as one unit and then set it back down. So inhale, exhale. Good. Inhale, exhale. Trying not to lean and have your body do the work, but instead really focus the work in this left hip here, right? It's really tough. I'm feeling it too. Good. Inhale, and exhale. Great work. Okay, we're going to switch sides. So go ahead, bring that left calf so it's perpendicular to your torso. Sweep that right leg around, planting the inside of the knee, inside of the foot down onto the mat here. Good. Again, using that big toe, ball of the big toe, we're going to hinge the knee up on the inhale, exhale it back down. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. One more. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Good. Now, hands down onto the mat here. We're going to take this leg and we're going to lift, again, the whole thing up as a unit and then back down. So inhale, exhale. Good. Inhale, exhale. We're feeling that on the right side, right? Inhale, woo. Exhale, try not to let the body do the work. Inhale, exhale, but instead have it isolated to that hip. Inhale, exhale, last one. Inhale and exhale. Excellent work here. Go ahead and sweep those feet out in front of you a little bit wider than your hips here. And we're going to lean back onto the hands for some windshield wiper movements here. So dropping the knees down to touch on one side and then the other. Just moving back and forth with intention here. Dropping the knees, dropping the knees. This is a great release for the hips, for the low back, for the legs. But again, it's another great mobility posture as well. This whole class has really been focused on mobility as we move out of the second trimester and into the third. We want to keep up that mobility. We don't want to calcify in these positions that we find ourselves in as we're trying to seek comfort in a somewhat uncomfortable time here. So this is great to do as well, morning and night. It's very gentle, very simple. Good. And then when you feel complete and mat coming back into neutral, we're actually going to make our way down onto the mat. So if you need to towel off, grab a drink of water, put on socks or a jacket for fun and relaxation, now is your moment. We will not sit up for the rest of our practice. Now, if you are at the end of your second trimester coming into your third, you are most likely not on your back anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and invite you to move down onto your side here. If you're not as far in your pregnancy, feel free to come down onto your back and find a comfortable, find a relaxation posture. Now, you can bring a hand or an arm beneath the head. You can also use something like a block, a pillow, a rolled up sweater, whatever you have. Tucking those knees, stacking them, stacking the hips, and then just finding as comfortable as a position as is available to you. Depending on how big the belly is, it might be comfortable to lift that belly and slide a pillow or even a block under the belly. It's a little bit of a release here. It releases the low back and just gives your belly a little bit of something to rest on so you're not constantly trying to keep it up, right? Options, not requirements. Of course, if it's more comfortable for you, if you've got that heartburn going on, you're welcome to come back into a seated position here if that feels good for you, and just treat this final part of our practice like a seated meditation. So I invite you to begin to settle in, just taking a few breaths here and really noticing the breath, not changing it, but start to notice that natural rhythm, that natural cadence that the breath settles into. Noticing how fast or slow it is, how deep or shallow. Noticing the quality of each breath on the inhales, the quality of each breath on your exhales. And feeling into the gentle rise and fall of your belly, the rise and fall of your chest. Noticing the sensation of air as it moves in and out of your nose, up and down your throat. Allowing your attention to rest here very gently on the breath. You're simply noticing. You're being intentional about the noticing, but you're just noticing. Now, if and when you identify that the mind has wandered off on a thinking adventure, it's okay. It happens. So celebrate the fact that you even noticed, and then come back to focusing on your breath, back to focusing on the inhales and the exhales. If it's helpful, perhaps incorporating a mantra to help you stay grounded and focused on the breath here. Inhale, I notice. Exhale, my breath. Inhale, I notice. Exhale, my breath. Remaining here with your breath in whatever way best supports you for just a few more moments today. I'm going to get quiet for this final part of practice so you can have it to yourself. Please know that I am watching the time and I respect yours, and I will be sure to let you out of this posture before the end of practice. So lean back, let go, just rest right here. We entrust our heart to the earth, and she entrusts herself to us with her whole being. Bringing your awareness back to this space, taking a deep inhale through the nose, filling the belly, lungs, and chest with air before slowly exhaling that breath back out. Taking another breath here as you begin to wiggle the fingers and toes, move your arms and legs, gently waking your body up. And then pausing here for a moment and bringing back to mind your intention or your purpose that you set at the beginning of your practice that answered the question, why did I get on my mat? Take a nice deep inhale as you make your way on up into a seated position, and we close out our practice together today. So finding your comfortable seat, rooting into the sits bones, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, the shoulders come forward and up. Exhale, they drop back and down. Bring your hands into a comfortable position, whether on your knees, palms up or down, in your lap or at heart center. Closing the eyes if that feels comfortable for you. We take a moment to express gratitude for yet another lovely day here on earth, and for our bodies allow us to do so many things, including yoga and grow a baby. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through this practice today. It was a joy and an honor, and I hope to be able to do so again in the future. The light in me, it sees the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for week 27 of this Yoga for Pregnancy series here on Wild Blue Yonder Media. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and share these practices with other pregnant women that you know. That's how people learn about me, and that's how I'm able to grow. If you want to continue to bring more of this practice into your body mind, I invite you to check out Wild Blue Yonder Meditations. That's my podcast. And on there, I've got tons of breathing, mindfulness, and meditation practices that can support you whether you're pregnant or not. It's a great way to really bring that whole ease, peace, and well-being concept into the body, mind, into the spirit as well. So check that out. If you have the time and have the interest, make sure to share it with others. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you in week 28, start of the third trimester. Woohoo! And thank you again for being with me today. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next practice. Bye.